Okay, today is December 25th, 22. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Um, like I said, I do this as like a video diary for the FBI and the Department of Justice. Hear the loud noise. That's them. They follow me screaming stuff. It's just Michelle's family. It's my daughter, her husband dates. He met her in Ravenna when she had a stomach spell. It's for my daughter. They did all this for, and our family watching her doing this Memorial Day weekend 2019 at the food counter of Walmart 62. An old white woman, African American man screaming out for Walmart here. It's Michelle's mother bragging that it's just them doing it on their own. Michelle, young blonde girl, Faith Family Church, said she dated Dave. Her dad was FBI, worked the case. Like I said, where they've been seeing all this other crazy stuff. That Alex, the white hair guy with his hair parted on the side, he looked just like retired Judge Pete, and he was a spit image. He's, as old as Judge Pete is, that could be their great uncle or grandfather. Bill from the Freemasons had the same look. And Michelle had whitish blonde hair too. Yeah. And people would walk around in the neighborhood. It's Will's mean kids making fun of her. Well, why would they make fun of her? Because it's, my dad's FBI. He works the case. I date Dave. She told everybody in Faith Family Church. And she took credit for having me raped. She could have anybody raped. She thinks she's some kind of mafia goddess. You got to think. Why would that agent go up and tell Apostolic Church of Barberton, before I call them back? It's obstruction, justice, and tampering with evidence. You telling somebody for calling for help, and you go tell the enemy, what are you going to say? Where that Savannah's friend followed around me, and it's linked back to that church, and there's 3 witnesses in the mall that they're saying they're going to kill me, and it's them. Oh, you're really part of it. You tried to run her off the road and roll her, huh? And Katie's breaking in the mall that they did it, right? And then it's them. What are you going to say? And you're linked back to that Harold Strange because it's his great niece? Huh? Why would you even go talk to him? You wouldn't. Because it's obstruction to justice and tampering with evidence. You don't go do that. You don't tell them that they called for help. And it's already came out November 6, 22, Trinity Gospel Temple, in front of people. At 10 o'clock in the morning, my phone's tapped from the protector light case. That agent that called her back is the one that told on her, and an officer verified it was actually a Starr County sheriff. Okay, so yeah. And then November 1822, 2 to 6 p.m., Walmart 62, in the entrance, right underneath a tape-in audio with a camera and a tape-in audio in the hair salon, right off of there, screaming. Eric was screaming, the one stalker they're looking for. All the tapes before were me and not her. Ha 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 ha. It was my idea to come up with it. It was my idea to do it. And for everybody to turn on her, and they fell for it and actually went along with it. And it was all me and not her. Ha. And the guy's like, well, if it was only you, I could fix it. I know, it's that bad. And yeah. The nurse, November 24, 22, Mercy Medical, Thanksgiving in the evening in Canton. Tape and audio outside my room, and my phone's bugged, okay? We all heard that Eric make fun of us for falling for it. Nobody should say anything to her again, okay? The lady responded, I think it was a Canton officer, because there's a lady Canton officer walking around, if not some other investigator. Well, the agent that bullied her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. I found out those men even ran experiments on her. And, they need to realize how not funny this is. No one's even ever said anything really bad about her. My whole family spoke badly of me. The other ones got caught on Thanksgiving of 18. They were making everything up because they wanted Auntie Shaw and Papa to get the house, and Grandma needed to get out, and further making everything up to floor in their games of pretend. They caught with the protective light case, all the police and investigators following everyone around, found Melissa friends with Michelle, and telling the kids to make up some mean jokes, really sick mean jokes, because they're mentally ill. So why would that agent do that? Because they met in a store. For it's my daughter, her husband dates. He met her in a store in Ravenna. It's for my daughter. They did all this for, and our family watching her doing this. It's the agent out of his. Now, I lived in Portage County. I called the 1-800 FBI hotline. We'll have an agent call you back. I Googled who's over that area. It's Akron. So, no way in hell would a Stark County courthouse FBI task force guy ever call me back out of his area. Would he? Not even in his area. Why? Because it's his kid. And he's the one with that Eric had been kicking in my door, date rape, drugging me, photoshopping me. So when I tried to tell on him for what happened at Huntington Bank, he called me a liar, threatened to put me in jail if I didn't say I was lying. What a sick bastard. I'm crying my eyes out. And I'm like, fine, whatever. Say it! Until I said it, and knowing I wasn't thinking straight because they had been date rape drugging me. Sick, but laughing and knowing that's his daughter. You tell some, I'll list your informant, but you tell someone, I'll list you crazy and nobody can help you. He can't do that. Badgering law 1729, Department of Justice. If you victim or witness or an informant tries to give you a statement, you have to follow through, or you go to jail for badgering. It's obstruction to justice and tampering with evidence. Why would he do that? He wanted to bully me into staying quiet. Why? Because he was going to open the informant program, the witness protection program. Why? Because in the witness protection program, it comes with $5,000 a month, income, $60,000 a year, free housing, free living expenses, and a medical card, and they give you diplomatic immunity and police protective custody at home, so they can't hurt you for telling on them. What is the requirements to be in the witness protection program? Any case that the government is willing to look into, and for your witness of being a victim or a witness of a crime, they put you in it so that they can't hurt you, they can't harm you, they can't frame you. And see, that agent couldn't think I was lying, or he couldn't open that case legally, because then that would be fraud. He couldn't know that I did anything wrong, and I didn't do anything wrong. And because if he thought I did anything wrong, he would have to be willing to wipe it out, because once you go into the witness protection program, it gets wiped out because you go into diplomatic immunity. See what I mean? He could not put me in a witness protection program thinking I did anything wrong or that I was lying, because that would be fraud. But he wanted to bully me into staying quiet so him and his family could steal that money. They're running a big scam. They've stolen over $300,000 from my case. The law for embezzlement: any money meant for one person, if it's withheld, it is embezzlement. If it is misdirected to another person than what it was originally meant for, it is embezzlement. Under $100 is up to a year in federal prison. Up to over 1,000 is 5 years to 30 years in federal prison. That's how much. You get the money. It has to be dispersed. I never got a dime. You know what I got? Police surveillance at home. It would be illegal for the police to surveillance me in my home outside a protect a lie case. Why? Because it's entrapment. You have a right to privacy. You are to be safe and secure in your own places and homes. Okay? You're to be safe and secure. You have a right to privacy and dignity. You have a right to remain quiet. Fifth Amendment. You have a right to an attorney to represent you and talk to you. Seventh, a right to a speedy and fair court trial. Seventh. Eighth, not to be mistreated. You have, first one, freedom of speech. I told my one friend that worked at the prosecutor's office, he laughed like a little girl and almost cried. When I told him what that agent said to me, he started laughing. He started giggling. He said, Karen, That agent can't talk to you like that, and the police know they can't go along with it. It's illegal. You can tell whoever you want in any witness protection program. It's who you feel comfortable with. They can't say a word. He said, and you can never get out, because he said they have to move you to a different witness protection program. It would be illegal for them to drop you, because they can't look at you and say, I hope they don't kill you, see you, goodbye. See what I mean? Your failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. See, people forget. They put the word Federal Bureau of Investigators. What is that? Police. They're investigators. They're just hired police officers that can be pulled and worked anywhere in the United States. But if you Google, what is their main job? They investigate like regular police in their area, unless they are pulled, in which they do also look at foreign terrorists that may, looking outside, seeing if anybody's doing anything around, like in the computers and stuff like that. But they will not, most of their job is regular police work. They're like the Secret Service, the marshals, the state patrol, the sheriffs, the local police. They're all police. It's just like the Army guys, from sergeants or privates all the way up to generals. You're still in the Army. This is just my ex-husband's girlfriend's family, where they talk about it, even the neighbors, that when he hit me with a board in the face, he showed up at that store and asked all these people to help kill me. Why didn't they just kill me? That's a good one. Why not? Because they were going to let me finish up that house and then scare me. Say my girlfriend's rich and powerful, her family owns the police, realizing that Dave and that church had been trying to kill me. Because he wanted that Katie before. Even guys that watched me from the protective custody, it was actually Katie before he met Michelle. And that's where the 4 attempts on my life. Okay? And but then he goes off that story, meets that young Michelle. Why would a little 19, 20-year-old kid want a 60-year-old man? Because he's a pawn. He's a pawn. They're embezzling from the witness protection program, and they got a new victim. Let me fix up that house as soon as it's done, have the bad guy that have been trying to hurt me before show up, let me find out who's all involved, and that it was really them, and then scare me so I wouldn't trust the police, huh? And so what? I go hire and call the FBI, and then he's waiting to grab it off the hotline. Think of that. So that he can come up out of his area, he probably cut a deal with that church. You know that, right? Because what he did is obstruction to justice and tampering with evidence. These people have lied on my family that they had attorneys coming after me for the shower scene in the other room, where that Eric laughed at him for falling for him, that it was all him. Over 10 people had already told on him for the shower scene and the date rape drugging. My son and my daughter-in-law knew nothing. I was even talking to him yesterday about them kicking in my door. They all know someone kicked in my door. I said, did you know somebody was stalking with button cameras of me and Dad? No. And they looked scared. And I said, all those big bruises? Well, we thought you were working too hard. I said, I'm about dizzy and almost passed out. We thought you were working too hard. I said, remember I almost passed out and doing what? Yeah. The neighbor had helped me? Yes. I said, I mow Lennox all the time. I walk miles at night too. So where on earth would just a couple of strips of mowing lawn make me dizzy? It wouldn't. And I said, remember those giant bruises? Well, you bruise easy. I said, well, yeah, I got little bruises. But I had orange. Or I said, remember the orange and the lemon and the grapefruit-sized bruises? Yeah, we all seen them. I said, they act like they were date rape drug. I mean, that's why I was throwing up and I was sick and da-da-da-da. And they're looking at me, because when you realize somebody's sick and they're dizzy and they're almost passing out and they're losing a ton of weight, they don't know why. And somebody had been kicked in their door before that, and there's some guy stalking them and breaking in and date rape drugging them. It's not funny. It's not funny. And he's wanted by the police. And him laughing at everybody like a jackass for falling for this. I was in Yesterday, I was in Dollar Tree, and this guy came in. He was on the phone. He's like, some guy actually showed up and said he's Karen's will. You're kidding, huh? And he said he actually wants to, after that guy gave a complete confession under tape and audio that he did all this, he wants to put his name on it too. You might want to ask him if he wants to back out of that statement, or we would handle this, because it's automatic jail time. See, these people, they have stolen from them, embezzled money from the federal government, and they passed it out like they robbed a bank and stood out and threw it off the roof. And they think it's funny, and it's not. They're serial killers. And this agent out of his area and that retired judge, how much you want to bet the retired judge is an uncle or grandpa? Because those boys look just like him. And people walk around, it's Will's mean kids being mean, saying stuff to her. Huh? Why would his mean kids say anything to me? Because my dad's FBI and I date Dave and he works the case. Huh? She admitted to watching me on the toilet. She admitted to having me raped. She could have anybody raped. She thinks she's some kind of little mafia goddess. Huh? Like I said, it's been a hurricane of lies. I was found innocent of everything. That agent, so he could still open that protected custody case. And then realize people would buy real terrorism, like a reality show. Sold it from the login to my house where only police and agents could see me, that regular people could see and hear me. And they made millions off of this. And then they passed little bits off of it and keep the rest for themselves. They have talked about them just stealing from the case. December 2nd, 22, Wendy's Alliance between 11 and 12:30. A guy inside Wendy's by the pop station in Alliance, there's only one, and was talking, about, is that the one that church tried to have killed? Yes. And I heard she didn't get a dime out of this. He said, no. It's that one guy from the case stealing every dime for herself. November 11, 22, Maslin, 3rd Street. I'm with my day hab. They scream it out that it's screaming out that it's that idiot stealing everything she had in life for his family. It's the only thing going on, and exactly what's going on. All right. Let's see. Trinity Gospel Temple on West Tusk in Canton. Trinity Gospel Temple, November 20th. 22, they're talking about in there that it's all over the money. Then last week on December 18th, 22, a lady walks out. Do you know who was here? It was Karen's will, the FBI informant. Okay. The guy she's with doesn't know what's going on, and we're not to say. And they were going on about some other things. It's like, it really is just them stealing from the case. I was in Pennsylvania with my day hab at Chronix discount store. A lady walks out of the bathroom ahead of me, okay? And she's another guy that looks like Ludic, okay? She said, it's sick what's going on. He said, I know my dad feels bad about everything. He realizes it is just them stealing from the case. It is. And when where I went in Acme Clinic the other day, and I went to walk out, and women said, the people hopping on this, we know they think it's funny hurting people. That's why they come up and say stuff to her. And they're not funny. Nobody finds any of this funny with any ounce of common sense or integrity. Yeah. Nobody does. And I have an officer out of this area that's a friend, and he's asked me if the police are slow in my area. I just sort of laughed. He said, seriously? He said even a local officer could have arrested that agent and that judge. They can't get away with any of these crimes. They can't say they were in my house. Oh, I talked to my daughter-in-law son about that. Even the FBI couldn't be in my home. Outside of Protect Alike. I told them about the officers working at CSE Bank, that the guy at the, one maintenance man telling, someone had told him that these weird stalking tapes are altered, they're photoshopped and date raped. And he went to the Canton police, and I said, I worked at CSE Bank. He's like, yeah. And I said, one of those 4 officers have been looking into it. They've been saying stuff. I said, all these different Canton officers have been coming up saying stuff. And I said, hey, Maslin, And I said, they've been coming up saying they've been looking for him. And they didn't know who he was. And he did a full confession. His eyes got great big. I'm my daughter-in-law. I said, it's awful that creeper was watching me and your dad. And then he was date rape, drugging me. He's supposed to Photoshop scenes. I said, it's freaky and it's sick. I said, even the FBI, Officer Reinhardt Louisville, he said someone called him, come talk to me. He even said, even the FBI couldn't be in your home outside a protect a lie case with his statements. It's entrapment. It's illegal search and seizure. You have all those rights. Even the Portage County Sheriffs, they try to blame them. They knew nothing. And that's where it is just the agent out of his area. And this is their family doing this so they can embezzle from the federal government. Investigators already know he bullied me into a false statement. They know that they ran experiments on me, and they know and verified by an officer that he's the one that told on me before. Somebody from, and I'm telling you, everybody needs to be on FBI submitted to him. Come down here and fix this. He's a serial killer, and he's one of their own. He's actually one of their own. And that's where it's scary.